I told you BeamNG Drive is the reason I started this channel? You'd probably be confused, but it's true. BeamNG Drive is what got me in cars in the first place. I've got over 300 hours in that game. Yeah, I know, I seriously need to touch grass, but I still play it because it never gets old. BeamNG isn't like Forza, Need for Speed, or Gran Turismo where you play for 10 minutes, get bored, and turn it off. BeamNG completely blew past all those games and somehow became the most popular racing game out there. And the crazy part, it's still growing. So today, we're going to talk about how BeamNG Drive took over the racing genre and why it's the greatest racing game of all time. BeamNG Drive started development in the early 2010s by a small group of former Rigs of Rods developers who wanted to take soft body physics to the next level. Their goal was simple but insanely ambitious. Create a driving sim where every crash, dent, fold, and mechanical failure behaved exactly like it would in real life. The game's first tech demo dropped in 2013 and it blew people's minds. Over the years, BeamNG grew slowly but consistently, adding more maps, more cars, better physics, career mode, and quality of life updates. Never relied on hype or giant publishers. The community basically carried it through word of mouth. A decade later, BeamNG went from a niche physics sandbox to one of the most played racing games in the world, proving that realism, passion, and attention to detail could beat out massive AAA budgets. So now you might be thinking, how did BeamNG, a game that only gets a few small updates a year, beat giants like Forza, Need for Speed, and the crew games that shove cars and DLC down your throat every chance they get? Well, that's the first reason why BeamNG is the greatest racing game of all time, quality over quantity. Forza recycles the same cars every generation. Need for Speed focuses on more microtransactions and gameplay. The crew adds content nobody asks for, but people buy anyways because it's flashy. But BeamNG, it's different. When BeamNG adds something, it's because the devs actually cared enough to make it good. Just look at the most recent update. We got a limo. One single limo. That's it. But look at the detail. It drives like an actual heavy stretch sedan. Last update, we got a full-on school bus and money trucks. It was so realistic, you basically need a real school bus manual to figure out how to drive it. And it's fun. These small updates build hype because they're meaningful. You can tell the team puts effort into every single thing they add, and it shows. Look at Forza Horizon 5's Steam charts. They were great at launch, but then they fell off, pretty quickly. Need for Speed? Some days it doesn't even break 1,000 players, which is pathetic given its budget. Crew Motorfest? Even worse. Meanwhile, BeamNG is still growing, quietly surpassing AAA racing titles without a marketing budget. That tells you everything you need to know. BeamNG's updates may be small, and yeah, we wait a long time, but they're worth it. They're made with care, not recycled assets. So what's the next reason why BeamNG is the greatest? The driving. Yeah, BeamNG doesn't have 500 cars, barely has a handful, but holy crap, the variants, the customization, the detail. You can spend hours building the exact car you want, and you can spend hours tuning one vehicle. And that's the best part. You can actually form a bond with the car. You learn its steering feel, its traction, its acceleration quirks, and when you finally master it, it feels earned. No other racing game captures this. When was the last time you were genuinely excited to build a single car in Forza? Exactly. They all drive like Hot Wheels. Fun, but hollow. BeamNG is the best driving physics out there, and it's not even close. Other racing games feel like the car's an empty shell. BeamNG makes it feel alive. And there's a crash physics. In Forza, you could drill a wall at 140 miles an hour and just drive away like it never happened. BeamNG, hit a wall and the race is over. Hit a curb too hard and your steering gets messed up. The game teaches you something real-world drivers forget. Cars are fragile. They're not tanks. That mix of realistic handling, real consequences, and insane detail makes BeamNG feel intuitive instead of bland. And once a racing game nails the core experience, the actual driving, everything else comes fluid. So next let's talk about the gameplay, because it absolutely destroys Forza, Need for Speed, the crew, all of them. I hated Forza's gameplay. You have to grind through this Hall of Fame nonsense, teleport all over the map, do random monster truck races. It never felt grounded. It felt like a theme park. Need for Speed turned it into a quest simulator with cringe characters. Crew Motorfest? Boring in a week. I wasted money on those games, but BeamNG Drive? I feel like I robbed the devs. For $25, you get more meaningful content than any $70 AAA racing game. Minigames, missions, career mode, challenges, and it all just works because the driving physics make every task satisfying. It's also a pretty good sandbox. You can build cars, tune them, mess around with props, set up huge multi-car crashes, patrol the map as cop. It's completely your choice. Meanwhile, Forza punishes you for doing anything fun. In BeamNG Drive, you can do whatever you want. Launch off cliffs, explore off-road, nobody tells you no. That freedom is something every other racing game is scared to give you. And sure, BeamNG Drive doesn't have official multiplayer yet, but even that isn't a deal breaker. There's a free mod that works incredibly well, and the community plays it all the time. BeamNG Drive isn't just a racing game, it's a platform. It gives you freedom, creativity, and real gameplay value instead of trashy filler. Next, why BeamNG Drive is so great is because how much there actually is to do, and I'm talking about missions or career mode. I mean all the miscellaneous stuff no other racing game even attempts. Let's say like truck driving. You fire up Forza and realize, nope, no real trucks here, so you switch to Euro Truck Simulator. Then you get bored and suddenly want to do some rally driving, so you boot up Dirt Rally, then you want Formula 1, so you're looting up F1 2026 or whatever number they're on now. You get the point. Every other racing game forces you to juggle between 5 different titles just to experience the different parts of car culture. BeamNG Drive doesn't do that. BeamNG Drive captures every type of car enthusiast in one big game. If you like customizing cars, BeamNG Drive lets you build anything you want. If you like police chases, BeamNG Drive has entire maps and car packs for that. If you love off-roading, BeamNG Drive is off-road physics blow every other AAA racing game out of the water. If you want to drift, cruise, derby, roleplay, do bus routes, drive semis, or even fly a plane, yes, fly, BeamNG is a community for every single one of those. No other racing game has mini communities like this. BeamNG is basically 10 different genres shoved into one super flexible physics simulator that happens to cost half of a Forza. That's why people stay on BeamNG Drive for hundreds of hours. That's why I've never gotten bored of it, and that's why it's growing like crazy. Next, let's talk about the community. Honestly, the biggest reason why BeamNG took over, mod support. Now I'm talking about those Modland downloads where you click one and suddenly your PC has 50 viruses, plus a free Russian toolbar. I mean the official BeamNG repo. BeamNG doesn't have real cars, which is actually a good thing. The devs get to build their own lore. No licensing headaches, no restrictions, no brands telling them what they can or can't break. Let's be real, no manufacturer wants their car folded in half like a grilled cheese sandwich anyway. If you want real car mods, you can download them, but honestly, they're boring. The real fun is in the lore-friendly stuff on the repo. I spend hours just driving random cars I'll never use again. My storage is packed with nonsense. There's a car made of hay. Why does it exist? I have no clue, but you could drive it. There's a lore-friendly Supra. There's even a drivable boat, and a Lego car that explodes into individual pieces if you drive it into a wall. BeamNG's modding community is endless, it's chaotic, and it's creative in ways no AAA racing game has ever allowed. Other racing games push modders away or shut them down, but BeamNG, they welcome mods with open arms. They know what keeps the game alive, and that's why the community is one of BeamNG's biggest strengths. Now with all that said, BeamNG still isn't perfect. It's still an alpha, there are bugs, and there are a lot more could do. Even though BeamNG is already miles ahead of every racing game out there, here's what I think would push it in absolute domination, to the point where it wouldn't be the best racing game. It would own the entire genre. First off, BeamNG needs dedicated multiplayer, not the third-party mod. That's great for what it is, but imagine BeamNG having real, curated communities built in. Think about it like Reddit. You've got r/trucking, r/police cars, r/drifting, whatever. BeamNG could have the same thing. Want to roleplay as a truck driver? Join a truck lobby. Want to drift? Join a drift lobby. Want a derby into your car looks like a soda can? There's a lobby for that too. It'll make the whole game feel alive, and it could build community. Or BeamNG could take a completely different route. A massive island with jobs, dealerships, car buying, deliveries, a bit like GTA, but actually good physics. But then again, that risks microtransactions, and nobody wants BeamNG turning into buy 5,000 Beambucks to unlock hubcaps. That would ruin everything. They could experiment with wild stuff, like a battle royale mode with derby cars. Imagine 100 people dropping into an island and smashing into each other while storm closes in. BeamNG plus total chaos, that would go insanely hard. Then there are small improvements people have just been begging for. Better rain, mud, snow, clouds, more detail in weather, stuff that would make the world feel richer without changing the core gameplay. And honestly, BeamNG shouldn't stop at just cars. It's called BeamNG Drive, not BeamNG Car, so why not expand? Trains would bring in the entire train simmer community, which is massive. Planes are already possible with mods. Motorcycles, go-karts, boats, all doable. I'm going too far, but you get the idea. BeamNG is one update away from appealing to every vehicle community on the planet. For now though, BeamNG is in the perfect state. It's at the top of the racing genre by a mile. And there's no real competition except for a few games coming soon. Forza Horizon 6 is coming in 2026, and yeah, it's set in Japan, but with Forza's track record, it'll probably just be a big, empty Japanese map with recycled cars and a festival playlist no one asked for. Another competitor I see is GTA 6, coming this May. It's not a racing game, but there's so many cars I think people will go wild for them and spend money buying those stupid shark cards or whatever. But that's a different genre. I can confidently say now, BeamNG won. No other racing game can come close, there are no competitors left, so I crown BeamNG the king of racing games. And let's hope it stays that way. Oh wait, Assetto Corsa exists. Also not a bad game either. That could be a future video. Thanks for watching, and remember people, drive safe, drive smart, but most importantly, drive something we're talking about. See you in the next one.